Hello and welcome. I'm Annette Reeder from thebiblicalnutritionist.com, and today it's another grocery discovery. Today we're looking at a food in the produce aisle that's not uncommon but sometimes can be a little foreign, and it has 5 amazing benefits for you. Number 1 is cancer prevention, or it can improve cancer treatments. Number 2, it helps to rebuild the gut microbiome. Number 3, it helps to connect the texting between your gut and your brain to help you with less stress. All right, 3 is enough, right? But let's look at number 4. Number 4, it helps to overcome the lingering COVID issues that people are dealing with. We're realizing that actually between 30 to 50% of people who had COVID are having these lingering symptoms. And it might even be more than 50% because the ink isn't dry on writing this whole research on COVID. And then the last one is it helps to boost immunity. That's 5 amazing reasons why we need to look at this food and add it to our diet, at least a couple times a week, maybe every day. It is just a power food that we need to look at. So let's go inside. But before we do, if you like what you're seeing here on Facebook or YouTube or the other channels that we're promoting on, please hit the like, the subscribe, and the bell. The bell helps you get notified every time we post new videos. And I am always here to share with you God's recipe for excellent health, which includes, number 1 ingredient is that God loves you. The number 1 ingredient in his recipe is that God loves you with an amazing love. Now let's go check out this food. Well, here we are. The food today is mushrooms. And yes, mushrooms have been a staple in the diet for thousands of years, yet many people didn't realize the health benefit. So today we're going to look at why mushrooms are so beneficial, how we can stir them up real quickly for a quick dish, and number 3, how to store them. Do we keep them in this plastic container, or should we do something different if we want to keep them not getting all slimy before their time? So let's look at these 3 things. But first, most importantly, why are they so nutritious? So as we look at these different mushrooms on this shelf, and in different grocery stores, you're going to see a more variety. Yet it's all going to come down to just the whole button mushrooms, the portobello mushrooms, the shiitake, and the maitake. These are all really good choices. And so also realize what is important about this is they have polysaccharides. And then the polysaccharides is something called beta-glucan. That beta-glucan is a soluble fiber. So wow, fiber, I love fiber. So just looking at this label, you can see we have 2 grams of fiber and we have 3 grams of protein. And so this is a perfect entree for your meal. Now some people are like, well, I need 17 grams of protein in every meal. Well, not necessarily, because mushrooms are an excellent protein in the way that your body is able to utilize it, because it's very usable protein for your body. But that's not the most important point of these mushrooms. I'm being upstaged again by the van, of course. The most important part of these mushrooms is the soluble fiber. The soluble fiber has beta-glucan. Beta-glucan is being studied in these white mushrooms, in the porcini mushrooms, and in the portobello. Several of these mushrooms are extensively studied because they have anti-cancer properties. In fact, they're even using some of these beta-glucans from mushrooms. It can also be from yeast or grain into cancer treatments. In fact, if you watched my last cancer video on 7 ways that she overcame cancer, one of them was beta-glucans. And it can be from mushrooms, but it can also be from yeast. In fact, yeast beta-glucans is actually more powerful in cancer treatments. So check that out. So when we eat these mushrooms, whether they're fresh, whether they are sauteed, whether they're on your pizza, whether they're on your salad, your body is going to have a boost in immune system functioning. It's going to improve your T cells and your B cells. When you do that, you create an ability to protect your cells, protect your body, and then if something gets in, it destroys it, and then once it destroys it, it cleans it up. So we protect, we destroy, and we clean up. So when you're choosing different mushrooms, go ahead, they're all going to have benefits. Yet, don't cut off the stem. The stem is actually double dose on the beta-glucan. But besides the beta-glucan, you're getting other vitamins and minerals and B vitamins. So mushrooms are actually an anti-stress food. Okay, now that settles it for everyone to get mushrooms into their diet. So anti-stress, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-cancer. Okay, that settles it. They go into the cells, they're adaptogenic, so they're going to help the cells do what they need to do. So remember this, foods don't heal. Medicines don't heal. The only healing power comes from God. Yet God gives us delicious, nutritious, health-building foods so our cells know what to do. So it's God who heals, and He gives us food to do the work. So it's an incredible story, and I really want you to get some mushrooms into your diet today. So let's go to the kitchen and look at how we can do a quick stir fry and really make this a delicious complement to any meal. Now I have 2 packages of mushrooms here. Now remember what I said, the stem is actually double the beta-glucan than just the caps. Most people just eat the caps and throw the stems away. No, never do that again, now that I've learned that. How to store mushrooms at home. So we would go ahead and just put them in a brown paper bag and then leave the bag open. I mean, this is a really big bag, but I could just fold it back and just leave it open in the refrigerator like that. Hopefully you have maybe those sandwich bags. I couldn't find any in my supply, so I'm just using this Whole Foods grocery bag. So just putting them in there, that way they're not going to get slimy. When you're ready to use them, you can go ahead and rinse them, pull them out of the brown paper bag, leave the bag open, and they're going to store for a long time. I totally love mushrooms, and I love them just sauteed and just an amazing flavor. Yet there's a good way to do this, and then there's a boring way to do this. So the good way is to really get the intense flavor from the mushrooms. So all we're going to use is maybe about a tablespoon and a half of some oil. It could be an avocado oil or an olive oil. We're going to let that heat just a little bit, and then we're going to cook our mushrooms. Now some of these are just really big mushrooms, so I'm going to make 3 slices out of them. If you have the small button mushrooms, the white button mushrooms, then you can just cut them in half and they will be perfectly fine. What we want is to release the water out of the mushroom. And then we will get that flavor that we're looking for, that intense, just really good, nutty, earthy flavor. I do have a recipe in my cookbook for stuffed mushrooms, but that would be just the cap. It would be that part, and just stuffing that with some really good cheese mixes, maybe even some nutritional yeast for the cheese effect, and some vegetables, and just bake that. Oh, yum, yum, yum. So I did that just as an example. You can also, but I don't want to leave out my stem now that we know how healthy that is. You could also pop off the top, and you could just cook it like this and just press on it, and this could be a mini pizza. You get little pizza slices, and just once it's nicely cooked, just top it with some cheese or some vegetables and serve it to your kids, and that would be delicious. We don't have to always rely on what we used to eat. There are so many good foods out there that we can enjoy when we just get a little bit more creative. All right, so we have the oil, but now we have the water from the mushrooms. You can just hear that water popping, releasing out of the mushrooms, and that's going to let us cook this down into the most delicious flavor from those mushrooms. As you notice, the mushrooms are starting to turn brown. As they release their water, they're going to turn brown. So even a white button mushroom, when you cook it, is going to turn brown as it releases the water. Now this is where I normally stop, and I just go ahead and take them off and just go ahead and eat them like this. But when we cook them even longer, the flavor will get more intense and be a better delight. When you see all of this juice popping up here, coming off the mushrooms, you know you're getting to a more intense flavor. So you definitely want to get past this phase, and then we want to cook it down till almost all of that juice has been reduced and the flavor is intensified in the mushrooms. And we haven't salted it yet or added any pepper. We're truly just working with the mushrooms. Well, now the juice is pretty much cooked away, so we're going to go ahead and add some cracked pepper, because pepper you want to add at the end because it can cause burning. And then we want to add just a little bit of salt. There we go. Now these mushrooms are ready to be served on anything your heart desires. So just serve this on a platter. I made some homemade grits for some guests I had recently. This would be so perfect on top of some homemade, freshly stone ground grits. You could also serve this on rice, on vegetables, even on a salad in place of a salad dressing. This is the perfect protein. You could top it with a little bit of goat cheese or a little bit of feta cheese. Oh, wow. Don't you just love that steamy effect? These look so good. Well, there we have it for the mushrooms. And it's always man who tries to classify, identify, and put into groups, but we're not to be put into groups, and neither is food. So food is nutritious and delicious. The only group that we need to understand is, did God make it? And yes, God made mushrooms for us to enjoy. Yes, they are a fungi, but it's not a harmful fungi. It's not mold, and it's not going to cause harm. It's a food that God created for our good, for us to use for medicinal benefits and totally for our enjoyment. So enjoy this fungus today and see your body to be transformed and to start feeling better. If you need a more concentrated type of beta-glucan, then you need to go to a supplemental form. So eating mushrooms every day is not going to be enough if you're in the throes of cancer. You need to talk to your doctor about getting some beta-glucan supplements. It doesn't have to be a prescription. You can do that on your own, but just talk to your doctor and work with them always and be upfront with them with what you're doing and how you're trying to be as proactive as possible and protect your healthy cells. So thanks for letting me share this with you today. It is so important that you understand that I am here for you because you matter, and you matter to me because you matter to God first. And He loves you with an amazing love, an everlasting love. And I just want to teach you about the good foods and the nutritional value so that you can just sit down to the table and just love what you are serving your family. Thanks for watching, and be sure and hit like, subscribe. I look forward to hearing about your comments. And until next time, remember, God loves you.